This Fox Business alert: the jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial has gone home for the evening. The court will resume tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, but a major news network will not be in the courtroom. Garrett Tenney is outside of the courthouse in Kenosha with more. What a day, Garrett.
Trial. Kenosha police say a freelance producer they believe was following the jury's bus last night in order to take pictures of them. Today, Judge Bruce Schroeder said that when police pulled over this freelance producer, he told them he had been instructed by his supervisor in New York to follow the jury bus. This entire case is now under investigation, and until that's completed, Judge Schroeder said MSNBC will not be allowed in the courtroom.
I have instructed that no one from MSNBC News will be permitted in this building.
The families of the dead, the deceased, any good. It doesn't do the defense any good. It doesn't do the judge, the jurors, or the justice system any good. It's really been outrageous.
Bob, is it possible that the judge, this is all speculation, obviously, if the jury comes back with a guilty verdict on one or more counts, that he vacates that guilty verdict?
Yeah, this is the point. The judge has not ruled on this motion,
right.
So I kind of say to myself, well, Judge, what are you waiting for? Because the jury may be coming back with a verdict. But you got to remember, the verdict is not finalized technically in most states, and I assume Wisconsin as well, until the judge signs a thing called the judgment of conviction. If there is that guilty verdict, I think it is at that point in time the judge is going to handle these motions, right, and could potentially vacate that verdict.
But what this does, this menacing, if you will, of these jurors, allegedly by a freelance producer, NBC says, but again, a member of the media, that you're following the van. What message does this send to anybody who might serve on a trial? You want the best people on your jury if you ever get into trouble. That's it. That's the issue. It's like you said, you would want your family member, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, a spouse to have a fair trial. But this sends shockwaves because, again, these actions by MSNBC, it seems to suggest, do you want these jurors to be killed by your viewers when this is done?
Yeah, well, listen, like the judge said, you can't underestimate the badness of this particular situation. The media should not and knows better than to be pursuing jurors, but trying to discuss a case with jurors. I mean, it's as bad as releasing the identity of a child rape victim, okay? You just don't do it. And that's why down the road, when you saw the judge rebuking the prosecutor a couple of times and people went after the judge, oh, he's unfair, whatever, which he wasn't, I don't know. It's the same thing here. If it turns out that this is what the investigation reveals and the investigation is ongoing, I'd imagine the judge may haul that person in and take some sort of sanction against them so that it doesn't get repeated by other news outlets down the road in other cases.
It is sacred when you're covering a trial, and if you encounter any member of the jury. I've done it. I've covered multiple trials. Like in Lower Manhattan, you'd be very often in line going through the metal detectors with jurors, and you stare at your feet. That's how sacred it is, and what a responsibility it is for any member of the media to be covering these trials. But again, it's just a head shaker. Bob, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Bob Bianchi, please come back. Maybe we get a verdict tomorrow. It's Friday. The White House says